Grab your flashlight so we can unpack this dark episode of Hot D.
We had a crazy episode this time. I actually liked this one.
Did you see all them dark ass scenes for the most part you could see? But they definitely slid in some scenes where it was just mad dark.
Yeah.
And they're having a homegoing service for Lena by returning her to the sea. That's who her and her people are, right? They feel like they're born of the sea, from the sea, and they feel like that's where they should return. Now, her funeral is held at Driftmark, which is the island where her home and high tide is located. Now, I don't know if you caught it or not, but girl, that vibe at the repast was an eerie mix of somber and paranoia. Just about everybody there had beef with somebody else, girl, even the children. I definitely expected for something to pop off, but they behaved.
It was a mess. Like it was definitely drama. I liked that they sent Lena off. That was beautiful and sentimental until Damon started laughing. But yeah, the repass was so interesting. Like everybody was just giving looks. Like Alicent is like staring down Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is like trying to make eye contact with Damon. It was just a lot. The kids, what's his name? Aegon's just getting drunk and he's like, what, 16? It was just very interesting, the
I'm
vibes.
telling you. But yeah, one of the other major stories this episode is who will inherit Driftmark, considering potential heirs have died. Bloodlines are in question, and people keep getting remarried. So Corlys pledges Driftmark to Lucerys, who is clear about not even wanting it. Lucerys was like, "Yeah, I don't even want it," because every time he said, "If I have to inherit it, that means someone has died," and I feel him, right? You tired of
He's
people
also,
dying.
yeah, he's also what, 8? I don't know how old these kids are, but it's like,
True, true.
I don't even know if he even, it's not like Rhaenyra's his dad and sat him over his knee and told him the story. So I don't even know if he comprehends the responsibility. But on top of not having the Valerian bloodline, he also just doesn't have the interest, which catches Corlys off guard. And then another scene in that same, I guess, event is I did not know that Alicent planned on marrying Aegon to his sister.
Yeah, she's trying her best to make sure her kids are the heir and that be that. Well, she's trying to make sure a high tower or that bloodline stays in succession some way. So after Lucerys telling Corlys that, he does not want to reign over Driftmark, Corlys also points out that Jacaerys will be king. And this is just pretty much a testament to Corlys's desire to return the throne to who he thinks is the rightful heir, which is essentially anybody in his family. He's pretty much trying to reclaim the throne that he views that was stolen from his wife. So we see that push ever since the very first episode, even though Rhaenys has said plenty of times in a multitude of ways that she's over it. I'm done. I'm past it. I wish you would let it go too. But Corlys he ain't having it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that like he's so laser focused on the throne that he doesn't even care that it's not the bloodline. Like in that very scene, he's like, it's about the name. So he knows those grandbabies aren't his. He doesn't even care that it's not blood. Like long as he has like a name somewhere on the throne is enough for
Right.
him.
And did you catch how Viserys tried to be cordial in that first opening scene with Daemon and even asked him back? Since he banished him after learning that Damon tried to sleep with his daughter Rhaenyra. But he did try to extend an olive branch, but Damon was like, nah, clearly the gods are being worse to you. And Damon, cool as a cucumber, is just like, yeah, whatever, you banished me, so nah, I'm good. I want nothing from you.
And I don't blame him because it's not like if he went back, he would enjoy himself. I think he would be very bored. He would be back to his old self. So I don't think it was a good move for him. I mean, I don't know. I could empathize with that side of him.
Then we see Rhaenys and Corlys by the fireplace. I feel so bad for Rhaenys. She was mentally prepared in a lot of ways to lose Lenore since she understood that Rhaenyra's claim to the throne would be challenged and that he could possibly be collateral damage. But she has now lost Lena.
And I think that one hurt the most because she felt like she could intervene. It seemed like her daughter somehow did get the message to her that she, was yearning to come back home. It seemed like the mother knew that. Well, the mother did know that because she mentioned it to Corliss. And by her
Mhm.
not coming home, just I think made it worse for her. Yeah, that was a sad moment.
Rhaenys asked Corliss, to make an announcement that Lena's children will rule Driftmark. Corliss is immediately offended by it because that move would sidestep his own sons and even makes a point, which I agree with, that doing so would cast an even darker shadow on his grandsons. At one point, Daemon tried to warn Rhaenyra that Alicent was behind the death of the father of her children, not knowing that it really wasn't Alicent's doing. Did they really have to draw that scene out like they did? I know I can't speak for all, but I couldn't even enjoy the romanticism for all the incest getting in the way. And luckily, that was one of the darker scenes. Aemond eventually sneaks off, finds Vagar. I thought she was about to light his ass up, but she
I was
didn't.
hoping she did, but
Claim the dragon, and that's what he did. And it proves to be a very strategic move later in the episode. The next scene is really what starts the dance of the dragons. Because remember last time we talked, girl, I was like, Damon doesn't want to return home. Rhaenyra is like, F this. I don't want nothing Alicent got no more. She packed her family up and bounced. Remember, I was like, so how in the world, what's going to start the war? Don't nobody want to attend this fight except Alicent and everybody else done bounced. Well, now we see what starts it. Alicent literally wants an eye for an eye from Rhaenyra's son since he took one of Alicent's son's eyes, and rightfully so, because the little terrorist was in there about to bash people with a damn rock.
he gets his face slashed, loses an eye, and obviously the mamas are upset. Alicent more than anything, and I don't know. I didn't know where things were going to turn because the demands that Rhaenyra was making, about what's his name, Aemond calling her sons bastards, which is what prompted the fight. Well, the dragon, stealing the dragon's what prompted the fight, but Rhaenyra actually verbalizing that, her sons were being called a bastard and demanding something be done. I was like, wow, this is wild. Where's this going to go?
I almost feel like Rhaenyra, she had to pull rank in that instance because Alicent, she had called for, obviously, she had called for the eye of Rhaenyra's son. She was just like, no, you slighted one of the king's children. There need to be some type of retribution for it. Now, I'm not saying there's anything else Rhaenyra could or could not have done. I honestly don't know. But at that point, she had to pull rank to save her kid's life,
Oh
you know?
yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm just saying that when that happened though, I was like very much like a oh shit moment. Like, is Viserys going to question this little boy? And then he did started questioning him. And then I was really on my seat because I'm just like, all the tea is about to be spilled. And, I think that Alicent, as much wisdom and what is the other word? She tried to teach Aegon, the oldest son, to like care and to be strategic. And it seems like only her youngest son is taking in the lessons. Like he was very strategic about the dragon. And obviously, I don't think he thought he would lose an eye, but like he was strategic and who he named, he heard it from. And when Aegon stood up to his grandpa and was like, look, everybody knows. It doesn't matter if I name who told me when everybody literally knows.
what you said about Aemon, the youngest son, was absolutely right. And did you peep how Hightower damn near got aroused at him hearing Aemon saying, "I may have lost an eye, but we gained a dragon." I just knew that made his little day. But he's definitely grooming Aemon, and I just wouldn't be surprised if we see more of Hightower and Aemon kind of doing their thing, trying to take the reins. Hightower absolutely loved to see the shrewdness of his grandson. And then when he ended up talking to Alicent, he even congratulates Alicent for her determination to win an ugly game, as he puts it, and says that gaining the dragon was worth 1,000 times what his damn grandson paid for her eye.
Yeah, and I think that still hits home for Alicent. Like, she's not, she loves her kids. It really bothered her that her son was maimed, and maimed by someone that she's already despises. And it was just an insult to injury. I think that standing there with Alicent like that was an epiphany to Rhaenyra of what is going to set off like this war, the tension, or it's beyond tension at this point. Just the hatred, the thing that's going to divide the families. I think that because Rhaenyra just stared at the blade for a minute. And I was like, oh, yeah, there's a story on that blade that I don't remember, but this must be the beginnings of it.
Eventually, they got everybody to settle down, and Alicent, her kids, and Viserys leave Driftmark. Now, if you noticed on that scene when they left with one more dragon than they came with. So they took back an extra dragon, which was Vhagar, now Aemond's dragon, since he's claimed it. And it makes sense that the other two might be Sunfire, which is Aegon's dragon, and Dreamfire, which is Helena's dragon. So we see them sail off into the distance with the dragons flying, and Rhaenyra is standing there watching this. And I think in that moment, that's when she realized, yeah, let me go ahead and squad up because this shit about to get real. Which easily progresses to the next scene of Rhaenyra and Daemon discussing next steps, what they plan to do. Rhaenyra out the gate was just like, look, I need you right now. And I know Daemon loved to hear that. I need you right now. Because she knows war is just around the corner, pending the death of her dad. Right? I mean, as soon as he draw his last breath. And with Hightower sitting, hell, you might as well say he's sitting on the throne now because he basically has control over everything, being the king's hand, and the king's about to die, and his daughter is queen. So yeah, Rhaenyra, she knows what's going down. She proposes that they marry. She says that would make challenging her for the throne very hard, and it would. It really would. Then you think about somebody like Daemon with his military prowess, his shrewdness on top of that. I really do think it's a great match. I don't
But
know why they couldn't just.
I think yes, but then I was looking at the resources. So like Alicent has all the dragons. I mean, Daemon might have a dragon still. Maybe Rhaenyra has a dragon still, I guess. So it's like 2. I don't think any of her kids have a dragon. Outside of that, Daemon doesn't like have an army, and he doesn't have Corlys anymore because his wife's dead. And now the Corlys and them lost both their kids. So they're probably just hate all of the Targaryens. And I just feel like who's going to squad up? Daemon is just kind of like a rogue by himself. He doesn't have an army.
Well, technically he does, and this is where it gets difficult. Technically, he does have an army. He would have the king's army because Rhaenyra is the heir to the throne, and he, obviously he would be ruling with her and should have access to hell to the men he actually was over
But
for the king's guard.
that's assuming that Alicent hasn't already had an allegiance with them since she's literally
That's
around
true.
them every day. So, and then she's
That's
got
true.
not Chris. What's that man's name? The one
Kristen Cole.
Kristen. Yeah. Who knows who he rounded up. And then she's got Larys and all his tongueless assassins, and she's got a pretty good squad. I'm rooting for Rhaenyra just because she's the underdog, and I love an underdog story. But I need
Yeah, I mean, and I
Rhaenyra to
agree.
squad up
It's
more.
difficult. Yeah, it's difficult to see where those. I agree where those resources will come from, but there are more dragon eggs being hatched. We seen the little girl last episode trying to hold one of Damon's girls, trying to hold one near the fire to get it to hatch. Spoiler alert: we should see about 17 dragons. I want to say
That's a
I don't know how
big.
many.
I feel like that's a
It
big
is.
spoiler.
It is. We'll see about 17, but the question is when. So, and that's why I said, okay, resources should be coming. But the other thing is, it wouldn't be the Valerians that have them, not out the gate. You would have to be stealing these because they will belong to Targaryen. So, I don't know.
Right.
That is a good point. We will definitely see. But either way, she proposes to marry Damon. That definitely happens. We kind of see where Rhaenyra hatches this plan with Damon to get Lenore out of the way, so to speak. But yeah, so Damon sneaks off into the cave and talk to Lenore's boyfriend, and he pretty much telling. And this is when I knew it was a giveaway for the plot, right? Damon tells Lenore's boyfriend that, there's a place across the sea that essentially accepts gay men, and that should have been a dead giveaway because if you intended to either kill him or have him kill Lenore, that is absolutely unnecessary information. You either put the fear of God into the man and threaten him, this, that, and the third, but that didn't happen. So it just pretty much alluded to me at that point that, okay, something's going to go down, but I don't think it's as bad as we think it is. And if that wasn't hint enough, Damon killing random innocent people like the guy on the steps should have at least made people think twice about this being an actual plot for Lenore's death. So there was a couple of things that it was just like, okay, I can kind of see that Rhaenyra, she got something else up her sleeve. But obviously, we do see Lenore end up selling off with his boyfriend off into the distance. He's got his hair too, so he can't be identified, but he does not actually get killed.
Yeah, for me, it was kind of obvious even before then, even back when, even though I didn't know what was going to transpire, but when Lenore and Rhaenyra were talking and kind of making amends, and him saying that he'll do whatever to make sure that her sons were okay, that she's okay. He was going to commit to being a good husband. And I was like, okay. So I just thought that meant he was going to commit, right? But then when Rhaenyra and Damon are strategizing, I could tell, even when she talked about, when Damon was like, Lenore would have to die or be killed or whatever. Like, even how that was said and her facial expressions, it did not give me the vibe that they would actually kill him. And then, just like you said, the conversation that he had with Lenore's boyfriend, I was like, at first I was thinking maybe he's saying that he could go off, he can do this job, and he's obviously going to have to leave, and he can go to this far off land to be gay by himself. But then I was like, this still isn't, I don't know. I just don't feel like Rhaenyra would kill Lenore off. Like, I just felt like they had, at the very least, a friendship. And it's also Game of Thrones, so anything could happen. But I didn't get the vibe from her that would be, she even said something along the lines of, she said she wouldn't be a tyrant as a ruler. And Damon was like, well, you kind of got to put the fear of God into people. But I don't know. She just didn't strike me as someone who would do that. And then when they were fighting, it looked very staged. So I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but this feels staged. And then when he fell in the fire for a minute there, I was like, oh no, maybe they did actually kill Lenore off. But as soon as I felt that, like, his little bald head came across the screen.
And it would have been no reason to, at
Yeah.
this point, the both of them have pretty much stuck to their commitment. Even the fake marriage and everything, they pretty much stuck to that. And we, to my surprise, didn't even know it, but they actually tried to conceive. Rhaenyra lets us in on that. So they tried it. I don't know how how that would have worked. Like, how does he even get aroused enough, considering she's not what he wants. So, but I was
Yeah.
surprised to learn that they even tried it. But girl, I already can't wait till next week to see the next episode. How in the world am I going to make it a year and some change waiting for season 2 to drop?
Oh God, that's how long it's going to take. Okay.
Yes, a year and a half. So
I
they
mean,
were
I guess
saying,
if I could wait, like, however long I waited for Stranger Things to come out, that was a long wait. But yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm ready, because this is what excites me. It wasn't dry in the beginning, but it was just like a slow story. And this one, I was like, yeah. The last episode, kicked off at the end and everything with the fight at the wedding. But yeah, I'm just ready for the action, basically, is what I'm saying. So I hope it stays heightened like this. All right. So I guess until next time.